Oh, hey there. Hi. What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast live stream, aka spoiler alert. Lucky episode 777, wherein we will do the past week's con as well talk about some fun pop culture topics, and we're finally going to do the raffle with the JLA Avengers. So stick around for that. It's going to happen whether you want it to or not. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street in Manayunk, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Super rad shop. Get your asses over here and buy my comic books. Joining me tonight are Brian Lieb and Noel Bartocci. Sup, fellows?
Hi.
Hola.
Not
That's
much.
it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, did you want an actual answer to that? Well, weather's being weird, so it's gonna rain all day tomorrow. Today was like mid 50s or 60s.
That's cool. Shut up. Hold on. I forgot to say something.
Oh.
We're also going to talk about Moon Knight episode 1 because Hal's in the comments going, hope you guys watched first episode of Moon Knight. Want to hear reactions to it. Hal, you're gonna.
Yeah, but not yet.
Not yet.
Just wait.
Later.
Suffer through a whole show until that point.
Yeah, if I got to do it, so do you. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you to everyone joining us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you like what we're doing, if you're here and you like what we're doing here, then you should like, comment, subscribe, and share here. The joy of doing this live is me saying here.
They should be here, though. You weren't wrong. If they like it, they should be here.
They should be here. You know what? That's true. You can also email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com, and you can join our our book club Facebook group, JD's Heroes, Mother Hubbard, JD's Hero Complex Book Club. Let me drink more. Hold on, this will help. Yes. All right, we ain't got no goddamn letters, so we're going to move straight to the comic books. The first comic book on the docket is going to be Astro City. That Was Then #1 from Image Comics, written by Kurt Busiek with art by Brent Anderson. The solicitation reads thusly: Astro City returns with an all-new special. Who were the Jayhawks? How did they inspire 5 teen sidekicks looking for answers to hit the road in a rickety crime mobile in 1969? Nice. And how does it affect Astro City in the present? This one-shot special features new and existing heroes and launches a mystery that will drive the forthcoming Astro City series. Hey, guys on the show who are currently joining me, raise your hands if you have previous experience with Astro City. All right, so Noel, you're a newcomer.
Oh.
No, so you're a Noel-comer. Then I'll let you kick us off then, because I have a feeling I don't want to speak for Brian, but I'm gonna right now. I'm sure he loves Astro City.
You're really speaking for yourself when you say that, but you are right.
Thank you.
You are sure that I love it.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak for Brian. He loves Astro City.
I do. You're right, JD. You're right about that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
being a newcomer to Astro City, how did you find it? Not location wise, but like, how did you enjoy it?
To be clear, I've been a Noel-comer since like 13, 14 years of age.
Sweet. Nice. Orgasm.
Yeah, semen.
Ejaculate.
Never say that again. In that voice.
Ejaculate?
Yeah. It's like that's clinical.
Like they always say,
very descriptive.
Ejaculator.
They do say that, and I don't like it when they say it. They say it. I don't know what you mean.
I brought this on myself. I understand.
Yes.
Astro City is one of those things that, and I'm gonna dive into a story about Astro City. Astro City is one of those series that's elusively has always been out of reach, and since it's been out of reach that long for me, there is a sense of what's what I'm looking for, impenetrability. But then also everyone everyone is so wildly effusive on how fucking phenomenal it is that I almost don't want to read it as much. There's still that little piece of me in there that's just like, the more people tell you to read it, it becomes a chore as opposed to something I want to explore. So I'm trying to get over that part. I did with Lucifer. I am still attempting to with Sandman. I mostly did with Fables. Astro City is like the next one. My excuse for a long time was that it was mostly or almost entirely out of print. However, they did just release the first Metro book, which collects the first 19 issues. And Busiek actually says in the back matter of this book that there will be 6 Metro books collections that will be the whole series up to date. So
yeah, that was exciting. I didn't know that they were doing that.
So they're reprinting all of it. They're exploring all the formats, and I guess in the next year or so there will be a legit monthly series or a series of miniseries or whatever. So yeah, this was my very first experience not just knowing about, because I know the pitch of Astro City. You read comics long enough, you know the pitch. But this is the first time I've actually read any of it.
And then what did you think of it?
Oh, I thought this was just the beginning. It was fine. It was nice. It was nice.
Nice.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I followed it, but I wasn't sure if I was supposed to get more out of it, having not known anybody.
No.
Or if they were new.
They are 90% new, if not more than 90%.
I kind of suspected that, especially after reading the back matter, but then the way it's wrapped up with it's the entire issue, like the story structure of the issue is somebody speaking in third person about something that happened back then, and we're seeing what happened back then. But then it comes to I guess you get to see who's narrating. It's ghosts. I don't know. But then they make reference to Samaritan.
Yes.
And that part felt like an inside nod or joke that I don't understand. So then it made the whole kind of issue feel like, was I supposed to get something else out of this other than just a nice story? So I was a little, not confused, but kind of like, okay, it's cool. I didn't know if it was for me or not. Does that make sense?
Sure.
But I liked it. I'll keep reading. I'm very excited to, because I purchased a Metro book. I'm very excited to knock it out.
Nice.
I think you're gonna dig it.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah. Astro City.
Come on, it's good.
Everyone has that couple of those series though, right? It's just like, read all of Strangers in Paradise. It's the best thing you've ever done. Go. Like, okay.
Never read that one. Astro
one of the best
City.
things I've ever read.
I don't even know what it's about. I know nothing but the title on that one. But this book, I think that's what this one was. It was this thing about a time period and group of heroes that they haven't shown too much of. I mean, they've shown the 60s, but I guess mostly just this time period. Oh, Todd Engel says Astro City is up and down. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's really your dad's comic or your grandpa's. Todd Engel, I grew up mostly reading, really going for the Silver Age back issues. So those are my comics too. Yeah.
I was gonna after you were done with your full thought, I was going to say what Todd Engel said. But what were you saying before?
So anyway, this issue is just kind of like a little, like it said in the solicit, like a little mini story that is leading into their ongoing. I was glad to hear in the solicit that is the case.
So is this like a 0 issue? Is it supposed to be a little bit obtuse? Yeah. I mean, it's really well done. I hope you guys don't think I'm disparaging it.
Yeah.
This was a very delightful read, but the third act of this one issue felt like it was referring to things that I just don't know yet.
The stuff with the Samaritan.
It felt but it's not just the one scene with the Samaritan. The way that the narration leans into him, it made me think for a minute, like, oh, was I supposed to understand a reference before?
Right.
Or was I supposed to get a connection before?
No,
it was just the way that it was kind of structured. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it didn't hurt it. It was just like,
Yeah.
maybe this isn't mine yet.
So Astro City is, I think, so some of my favorite issues, some of my favorite single issues, including one that's on the comic rack in behind me, just above my shoulder, is one of my all-time favorite single issues, and it is great for a very long time, and then it gets into some of the later miniseries. I'm like, this is still good. I'm not as interested. It's not as just transcendent for me as some of the other stuff. And so this, I was kind of like, all right, let's see what we got. And I was pleasantly surprised that it felt a little more like the old Astro City. It's a little bit more of the same. It's not breaking that new nostalgia ground that it was when it first came out. But it was still cool. And then I liked seeing that there is, this is a setup for something coming, yet to come. Makes it even cooler. Like, I enjoyed this story, but it wasn't much of anything. And then I'm like, oh, hey, it's something. There is something going on.
Having read the back matter too, he Busek actually puts together a little essay of what's going on and what's been going on about the history of the series in here. And he does mention that the way that it's structured, or has always been structured, is a lot of short stories with an overarch kind of happening in the background that bubbles up here and there. After reading that, I was it was much more like, oh, okay, well, maybe, yeah, I don't know, it just kind of clicked a little bit more. Like, before I read this, I was
those short stories even are more full stories that he's talking about. There's some hints going on in stuff that you later find out about, but it's not it's just a story being filled out while other cool stories are being told.
Yeah, it was solid. It does feel, because like I said, I've been reading on and off. I've been reading Fables. It feels very much like Fables, like a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in tone, very much like Fables, because it's very referential and nostalgia. Like, half of Fables is just it's a little bit of procedural, but it's also very, very steeped in nostalgia and or popular understanding of fables of fairy tale creatures, and that's what this feels like, but for superheroes. It feels very
they're all
referential.
archetypes.
It feels very nostalgic, and it tells procedural and or kind of modern allegories. I don't know why I did air quotes, because it is a modern allegory when it comes to the alt-right, but which was really cool. That was actually my favorite part of this issue. The whole kind of subplot of that alt-right contingent on telling kids that they're stupid, and that was really cool. JD, what did you think? I don't even think you got to
I loved it. I feel the same way. I think that Todd Engel mentioned it below, and even Brian had said that starts off really, really strong, and then there's peaks and valleys as it goes. And I think that the schedule for this book has been a huge detriment. However, that being said, I was excited for it to return, and I thought this was delightful. I'm a Teen Titans fan, and this felt very Teen Titans-y to me, so I really enjoyed that. My favorite is Rivets. There's a scene in here with Rivets, and they're basically the original Teen Titans have all perished, quote unquote. And the very first scene is the camera going through the ghosts of the original team members in order to focus in on the current team members, which I thought was really cool. But then there's a scene later. They're all having a.
That's what that was.
They're all having
I did not get that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, I was just like, "What's this weird coloring stuff in the beginning?" And then I totally forgot about it.
I thought it was like a memory. All right,
no, I saw it. I saw the first page and I went, "Oh, we're gonna see that again. What is that?" And then when we find at the end that there are ghosts and we can see through them, I was like, "Oh, that's what that is." But anyway, they're having a campfire, and Rivets, my man Rivets, who's a robot. He's been doing his own thinking. One of the characters decides that he's going to he's not really a teen anymore. He's going to get he's going to be basically Nightwing, right? He's going to graduate from being Robin to Nightwing, which is sort of what the pastiche is doing. And Rivets is like, yeah, I've been thinking about that too. I might, change my name and be more of I can upgrade to an adult body if I want to. And then he's just sort of pontificating and going on. And then at the end he goes, the data I gathered would get used, which troubles me. I mean, science is good. It led to me after all, but its track record is questionable. I don't know. Sometimes I think the world would be better off if, humans were eliminated. Let the plants and animals start over. And everyone kind of screeches to a halt and like, rivets? What? I'm sorry. What did you? What a great, I really love that scene. And I understand what Noel is saying, but you don't really need to know much about the other characters going into this. I think these Teen Titans characters are all new.
I think the only character that we've seen before is that guy that comes flying in, in the past.
Oh, well, yeah, I got that. Like that guy that's been watching them.
Yeah,
I assumed he was like a,
and not even really a big
established character.
But he is an established character.
Also, side note, Alex Ross designs terror costumes. Not a fan of these costumes. They're all very silly.
The later ones are all like DC checkerboard, bottom barrel era. But the earlier one, like Samaritan's costume is cool, Cracker Jack is cool. Sure. The First all the earlier ones are cool, and then But
this was from my perspective, this was like a really solid 0 issue. I like, it didn't give me meat. It just kind of gave me a couple of like delightful scenes. It felt like I was going to say like it felt like dessert before dinner, but it wasn't. It wasn't that fulfilling. It was more like a comfort snack, but didn't really fill me up. Does that make sense? Like it was great. I enjoyed it. It was a nice snack, but I was like, I'm still hungry. What's next? Like that's kind of how I felt. So I'm excited to see where this goes, but it sounds like it's not going to be for a while, right?
Yeah, it looks that way.
Like in the back matter, they're like, oh, we were going to do graphic novels, but then we were going to do this, but then we were going to do that. But in the meantime, we actually ended up doing almost a whole graphic novel. It's almost done. So we're going to finish that first. And then maybe we'll get to the monthly series. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. So the thread line of this, it sounds like it's not going to happen until 2023.
That's the problem with this series as a whole.
Astro City
an ongoing problem.
Astro City, though, I kind of look at it as like Astro City started and finished years and years ago, and then there's been miniseries since then. Like, I don't think of Astro City as it's like every time I hear there's a new Astro City, I'm like, oh, that's cool. There is another one coming.
So what is this, like Black Hammer, where the actual story is just like been 24 issues and it's been done for a while, but now it's like nothing but miniseries?
No, I don't. That's not how I take that. No.
Okay.
It was a regular ongoing series for some years, and then after a while it wasn't anymore, and then they were like, oh, we're going to do Astro City The Dark Ages, and then we're a little while later like, oh, it's Astro City Local Heroes. So there's just other stuff that he wanted to do, but I don't think it's been an ongoing since
I didn't understand what you meant. So when you said like it came and went, was there a plot line that was resolved? And that's that?
It's not really like that. It's just like the story of the superheroes in this city, and you get different stories that focus on different heroes.
So there's no overarching macro plot?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just cool. Like there's some stuff, like he said in the back, like there's some stuff that you see a little hint of.
It is a superhero universe like DC.
Yeah. And Marvel kind of combined too. There's the First Family is like, it's like Silver Age comics.
Yeah.
Okay. I know, but I'll just read it. It's fine. You guys are confusing me more, unfortunately. So it's just a giant anthology.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, with some movement in the universe over time and stuff gets filled in or whatever. But it's just a bunch of stories that all take place in the same universe.
Okay.
Were you hoping for an ongoing story?
I was hoping for something a little bit more malleable, yeah.
Well, it's not like that. It's
I'll still read it. I've been.
Do you mean did you mean malleable?
Yeah, that's what I said. Right?
You meant malleable?
Am I using the wrong? Look,
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know.
sorry.
I was hoping it was something a little bit more straightforward, or something that at least had like
Ah.
grit to it, as opposed, or had structure to it that was bendy, as opposed to just always bendy.
Well, he fleshes out a full universe. That's the point of the story. Is like, here's the
But
Astro City
I'm
universe.
right at this point, since I've not read it, I'm literally just kind of playing devil's advocate. Doesn't just a guide to the Marvel universe do the same thing? Those aren't very fun to read. Do you know what I
No,
mean? Like,
that's not what it is. No,
there's
no.
emotional connection, and I'm taking characters through these trials and tribulations. Right? It's
Right.
not just every issue we're gonna do a quick dive on this one thing, and then it doesn't happen.
No,
again,
no.
right?
It's like a short stories that, like, the first arc is about Samaritan, and then the next arc is about I forget his name, but he's also on the cover of the first Metro book.
But the driving plot is just, this is a superhero world. Go, right? There's
Yeah,
no
pretty much.
actual like.
There's no universe story. There's no 50 issue arc. Nothing like that.
No full conflict kind of thing, because like Fables is just it's massive arcs versus massive arcs with like little things in between. It's just okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you weren't going in expecting that. Now, when you start.
Yeah.
Start into it. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I should know nothing. I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna read it. Yeah.
All right.
DC versus Vampires #6. Matt Rosenberg, James Tynion IV, and Otto Schmidt. Batman gets the upper hand on the vampires who have infiltrated the Justice League, but the Vampire King finally reveals himself, and it will be the most jaw-dropping moment of 2022. The shocking, best-selling series reaches its blood-drenched halfway point. My jaw was like where it
just
normally
slightly agape, like
like in closed
were you,
position.
Were you just like mouth?
It was
breathing
mostly
then?
like
no,
my
like,
jaw.
just
My
like,
jaw dropped just enough for me to go, oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So it
was
was jaw dropping. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, but not the most.
What did you guys think of this book, Brian?
I dug it. I missed issue 5, but it didn't. I felt okay with that. Like, it was still fun. I love the thing in the beginning with Captain Boomerang, where
Yes,
Harley's like, "Hey, some of us are vampires. You got to blow them up. It's me and this other person left." And Boomerang's like, "Wait, I am also left. Why didn't you say it?" And his head explodes. Oh,
that was
very
straight
funny.
brutal.
Yeah.
I took a picture of that and sent it to Noel. I thought that was funny.
It sucks that you missed 5. 5 was actually a pretty good melee.
I know. I did. And I want to know how Superman got turned.
I was on 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was good.
Also,
5 was a really solid issue.
Yeah.
You're fired.
will he eventually? All right, let me get my briefcase and my fedora.
pack up your things.
I
Take
will.
the fucking plant. Just get it out of here. And
Yeah, we never liked that plan. What I wonder how long Superman will still have powers, right? If he can't go out in the sun anymore.
Oh, I don't
What's the deal? Will he get
I don't
powers from
know.
Starlight? I don't know what will happen with him. It'll just be like a regular vampire, maybe.
I mean, who's to say that a turned Kryptonian has the weakness of sunlight?
You think that he would
Right.
be a daywalker also? He would be able to walk
I don't
around?
think.
not,
What
right?
I'm saying is they kind of
Sure.
established in this one that with metahumans the rules don't really apply.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah. Like
With
the
Starfire.
rules don't really apply, like with the Starfire stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was, speaking of the rules, I thought it was an interesting choice to have Wonder Woman get tied up by her own lasso and not lose her powers, which is like a Silver Age weakness of hers, and yet Hal gets if she got tied up. William Moulton Marston was like all about bondage, among a number of other
Hey, he
things.
was.
And
I just watched the movie.
Oh, the Wonder Woman?
Yeah. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. It was great.
Interesting. I haven't seen it, but fascinating story. Invented part of the polygraph test. Also very cool. Anyway, there's a lot more about him, but so she gets tied up and doesn't lose her powers, but Hal is susceptible to a yellow weakness, which has not been part of Green Lantern for like 15 years.
Yeah, since Jeff Johns got rid of it. I
Yeah.
think, right?
Well, even before that, Kyle Renner didn't have one. It was still in the backstory, but like mainstream Green Lantern has actually been without the yellow weakness since the 90s. And then, you know, in one way or another. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was odd. I also thought the turn was interesting. I don't remember where my jaw was, but I wondered, like, well, why wouldn't they turn Batman? And I think he kind of addressed it. If you turn Batman, he takes over. Is probably what would happen, you know? So it makes sense that he wouldn't, do that.
The next best.
Yeah. Because, like, Dick turns Batman, and then he's not the Vampire Lord anymore. And he probably wouldn't want that to be the case. So, a lot of fun. A lot of, like, cool doing whatever we feel like because it's DC versus vampires and not, you know, in continuity, and we can do whatever kind of stuff.
I think.
What did you think of the art changes?
The art changes from one time to another.
In
the Suicide Squad. Yeah, I guess the art is different. It didn't impact me a great deal. I like the art in this, you know, the more main section, but I didn't really register it too much. I wonder why they did that.
Okay,
I didn't love it. It was the last issue. It was the 5 and 6 had the two artists. I usually really like Otto Schmidt. I really liked him in Hawkeye Freefall, and I really liked him. He actually did some Green Arrow before, I believe.
Yes,
but I really like him. And this series has just been kind of like fine. It's a little loose. And it doesn't
a little rushed.
Yeah, it does, right? And it doesn't feel like it has much weight. From jump, it hasn't. Like, just the style of this book, it feels like it should be more of a horror book, but it reads more like a really quick digital first in regards to like layout and art. But I kind of got over it. But then I think the switch from one art to the other is pretty jarring because that other stuff looks like Boom Studios kids book, right? Like with the
Simone DeMeo.
Yeah. Like, it looked like Power Rangers, which, not against, but mash them two together. It's not a very like seamless transition.
Yeah.
But it didn't, I mean, it didn't overall hurt. It was just kind of like, no, okay. Like, they didn't even try and get artists that were complementary to each other.
Right.
But Brian, you said something, they're just kind of doing whatever they want because it doesn't matter, or just like whatever rules they feel like applying. For 5 issues, I thought that was fun, but this one was just kind of like, all right.
Oh, like more of the same.
A little, like, did it get old on me? Like, you know, when they revealed the turn, I was like, okay. I mean, that's interesting, I guess. Like, it was weird. A part of me was just like, oh, that's a pretty cool twist. But then the other part of me was like, right now it feels like a twist to be a twist and doesn't really make sense. And then when
what isn't?
It's a feeling. I don't have actual math applied to it. It felt like a twist to be a twist, as opposed to the whole. So when a twist sometimes happens, it recontextualizes stuff that happened before in a new way. Sometimes when a twist happens, it's just like, oh, this is the twist now, and it doesn't actually recontextualize anything.
You didn't see this coming because there's nothing about it in anything.
You didn't see this. Yeah, you didn't see this coming because there was literally no hints to it whatsoever. And then they retroactively kind of tell you, like, well, here's this magical thing that's not been established in the other 5 issues that let me do what I did. Like, it felt like yes-anding as opposed to the plan. And maybe issue 7 will kind of show me that that's wrong, but it still kind of was a little bit of a, like, okay.
Yeah, it didn't mean anything to me, the twist. It's not even a twist, really. It's just a revelation. It's not like we thought one thing and then something else was just like, oh, okay, here's the answer to that question. And I was like, oh, that's neat. I like that character a lot, so it was neat that he was chosen to be the king of vampires. But I didn't really feel anything other than that. I wasn't like, oh,
I guess maybe if there was a B to call it a B plot is like really generous because it was like a D or an E plot that there is a vampire lord out there or somebody to, they only had mentioned it maybe once. But
It
if
was in
there
the setup,
wasn't,
though, I think
if there was,
Andrew, whoever, was like, "There's a new vampire lord. This is causing problems."
yeah, it was literally one conversation. If
Yeah.
there had been an actual like seeding doubt, mystery weaved into the other 5 issues, and then here is the actual like reveal of what it is, then it wouldn't have felt like that. But here it just felt like, it's been a lot of shocks and a lot of like, oh my goodness, and a lot of you're gonna kill that person for 5 issues, and then now the reveal of it felt
Oh, see,
more
the
tacked on than
vampire,
baked in.
the new vampire lord thing has been like a major part of my impression of this story, or for me anyway. Like,
They keep mentioning it, but there's been no
Yeah.
actual like investigation of it. Like every single one of these
Oh,
issues
true.
has been reactionary,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't read the last one, but yeah. And I actually already knew. I didn't know we were going to read this for the show, and I saw some article that was like, "Here's who the vampire lord is," and I was like, let me find out who the vampire lord is."
I think
So I knew already, but yeah.
The only real shocking thing in this book, and what makes me want to read the 7th one to see what they do with it, is they take out 90% of the Bat family.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they do.
And that is fascinating. I know that Batman's still there, and then I think they turn Damian? But
Wait, Batman is still there?
Batman's still alive,
Is he?
isn't he?
I
What?
thought he
Wait,
had.
sorry.
It didn't seem that
Man's
way.
got a fist hole in his chest.
That's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who we got? Alfred.
Todd.
Jason Todd. No,
Yeah,
he's out too.
He's turned, and Damian is turned.
Oh, I thought Green Arrow was able to kill him.
Oh, that's right. God damn it. See, it was just like immediately fell out of my head. All of this immediately fell out of my head.
But that's a good question. Who is that? There's Damian and
Damian
Alfred.
was turned. Damian didn't get killed, and Todd was killed. Yeah, the whole Bat family's gone.
No, I thought Damian is.
got his head
Damian's
squished.
with Alfred.
That's what he said.
Shit. Yeah.
What? I thought you said he got turned.
Oh,
Did I mix up Tim and Damian in the art?
I did at one point. I think
I did as well.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I think they step on his head and then they're like,
Yes.
"Oh, we can still."
Tim gets stomped. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
later, Dick is like, "I just wanted one of my brothers." You're like,
So
"But not that one."
hang on, that-
I wanted to stop on his head.
That I'll kill you is Tim,
That is Damian.
who
Right.
gets bit.
Yeah, Damian gets bit.
So he gets turned.
No, I don't. Or wait, so is that just Batgirl that he's leaving with? Maybe he does turn him, because they make a show out of you need to drink from the vampire too,
Oh,
and you
so-
don't see.
Oh,
Damian do it.
so-
Okay,
Damian
so
is just-
no, he says,
God damn
I
it.
just wanted one of my brothers to join me. Is that so much to ask? Wonder Woman says, the little one is still alive.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
Okay.
There we go. It'd be cool if we got to see some kind of Lazarus Pit vampire reaction. Like if something happens where the two, yeah. JD, also, I got to say, I really enjoyed your sentence. That's not a twist. It's just a revelation. And I would like to hear that sentence more often.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
very true. I guess
Yeah.
a twist isn't a revelation, but a twist can be a revelation.
Yeah, but I guess
But
revelation
it's
yeah,
not
always.
no,
always a
it's-
revelation.
Yeah,
A revelation
It's not a
can be a
twist.
twist,
yeah.
but this was just a twistless revelation.
It's just a revelation.
So a twist
Oh,
is
Hal
always a
says, glad I
revelation.
didn't. Oh, well, Hal, it sounds like we're ragging on the book, but I'm
Oh, no,
enjoying
we're
the
into
book.
it. Yeah. No, I was into it. Also, I
Hal
like
says
the art style. I think it's a cool, like, superhero horror art style. The panel layout is nothing interesting necessarily, but the character art I think is really good.
This is not Otto Schmidt's best work. This feels
it's-
very rushed, but it's still fine. It's still good. Hal says, glad I didn't pick up the series. No, you should. It's good.
Yeah.
Maybe wait for the
this
trade.
is this is probably my least favorite issue, but been totally enjoying it. And there's 6 more. Like,
Yeah.
at
It's
this
only
point,
the bloody
I'm-
halfway point. That's the thing.
at this point, I'm invested in finishing it, and I hope to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just this one This particular issue felt a little rushed for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I still
diminish
loved it.
everything
I still
else.
thought it was funny. Yeah, I thought it was still fun. All right, next book on the docket, Immortal X-Men #1 from Marvel Comics, written by Kieran Gillen, with art by Lucas Wernick. In the Quiet Council, no one can hear you scream. The Quiet Council rules the Krakoan Age, for better or worse. Now, shaken by Inferno and the X-Lives and Deaths of Wolverine, they strive to hold together, no matter how much they want to tear each other apart. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Have y'all been reading the X-Lives and Deaths of Wolverine?
Nope.
I finished it.
Oh, it's done?
I read it. Yeah, I read it. It's over. It was,
Was it?
mini?
How was it?
It was interesting. It was like 2 miniseries jammed in together that didn't really coalesce in any meaningful way. One miniseries was, well, I mean, can I just loosely spoil Inferno for you guys to just catch you up? Like, how pure do you want to stay with this?
I would like to stay pure. It's the Hickman. That's the Hickman one, right?
I mean, yeah. There's one
Fine.
specific. There's one plot point that I think is very important to literally the rest of the X-Men line.
Fine.
And you're like 6 months off it now. Moira's discovered.
Yes.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we knew that.
She goes on the
they, with one of Forge's weapons, they depowered her. So she is no longer. She's no longer able to.
Yeah.
Regenerate. Like, yeah. So she's no longer able to, reset the timeline.
They told us that in the issue we read today.
That's literally what I've been trying to keep secret from you guys for the last like 6 months. And it's like at this point, we're done.
You did a good job.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did? Did you read the book?
What? This book?
They told us in this week's book that we read
now,
to talk about now.
He said he didn't know until now.
Yeah.
Until
this I think you meant
since
now.
This instant. No, I was not being that granular.
So it was meant to be a couple, like a multi-tiered kind of revenge plot. So like Mystique depowered her, and then they were going to hunt her down and kill her. However, Krakoa, feeling at least a little bit loyal to Moira, even though not cool, helped her escape and was just like, here, it's essentially gave her a head start. So the entirety of X Lives and Deaths, one 5-issue miniseries, was essentially about her on the run. And one of the things hunting her, Moira, was a Wolverine from the future. Oh. The other miniseries was, because there is a future where Moira is responsible for essentially ensuring the machines. Remember in House of X, Powers of 10,
Orcus?
The Orcus organization, the machines took over, like humans teamed up with the machines to take out the mutants. The machines took out the humans. So it was, so there's this future that exists where Moira actually enables the machines to do that. And then future Wolverine comes back to try and kill her. So you've got future Wolverine. The other miniseries is current Wolverine traveling into his brain in the past, multiple points in the past, to save the Xavier bloodline, because Omega Red has also been sent to murder him at every point in the timeline.
No, I hate that. I hate that so much.
So there was, both of those were happening concurrently. And at the very last issue of the time jumping in Brains X or Wolverine 1, they're like, hey, there's a future you that's rampaging through Krakoa. Go fix it. So they only merge at the very end when current Wolverine has to go fight future Wolverine.
Does he fix it?
Yeah, and he fixes it. Krakoa helps. He fixes it, and Moira dies, but not really.
Oh.
She is reborn as a cyborg of sorts. So they, in House of X, Powers of 10, they did a whole thing about how you have about 10 lives, 11 if you're lucky. They're implying that this cybernetic life, this 11th life, is her 11th. Yeah.
I wonder if that's why she only has 10, because this is the one where they depower her.
Probably. Like she maybe would have gone on in perpetuity if it wasn't for them depowering her after trying all this. And then this kind of is set up so during Inferno, the whole Quiet Council got shook up. And this seems like it's Mr. Sinister being a fucking twat trying to manipulate everyone. And I thought it was fucking hilarious. This wasn't like a hyper serious X-Men book.
No.
This was his internal dialogue of just being a fucking jerk, and it's great. I really enjoyed it.
I will say it did not need to go on as long as it did. All of these panels with him internally pontificating and blah blah blah, like it was like I got it after a while. I found it a little tiresome, but the rest of it is delightful. I actually am glad I read this because I was like, I'm not caught up. Do I care? Should I? I kind of gave up on the X-Men months ago. However, that being said, I thought this was great. It kind of reminded me why I was enjoying the X-Men to begin with.
Yeah, I think Kieran Gillen is a really good Hickman replacement because they both kind of communicate at a level that doesn't talk down to you. Mm-hmm. So it's the same amount of kind of like story work that I have to do, which just scratches an itch. So this I'm glad it didn't just turn into another fighty fight book. Yeah.
I think what they could have done was introduce this character. Who's this? She's from Genosha.
Yeah.
Right? She's like a vampire.
Then I was like, wait, is that Scarlet Witch somehow? Because I know she was it's not, but she's magic, and she mentions how she brought back Genosha, and there Kate Pryde says, yeah, but as zombies, which is something that the Scarlet Witch did.
Yeah. I thought it was like a reborn Scarlet Witch that I hadn't read somewhere else. And then when they say it's not, I was confused for like a page or two, but then I was just like, man, I don't know if I give a shit.
There was an event that happened around the time of God, what was that great X-Men series? Where there was Hope and Cable was on the run with Hope.
I think that was Cable, actually. I think that was.
What did I say?
No. I think the
Cable.
Series was in Cable's.
No,
series.
but there was a bigger name for it.
Messiah Complex.
And I can't remember, but it was around that time. And basically, this Messiah Complex was around that time. Yeah. And there was some sort of Genosian undead storyline that had her at the front and center. She was the villain for that. I have not seen. I don't remember seeing her since then. But when they introduced her, I was like, "Oh right, I forgot about that lady." Yeah,
that was a good series.
That was a good X-Men run.
Yeah, it was good. What I was thinking of was when it either directly precedes it or comes after.
Necrotia, that's it. Necrotia. Thank you.
The Cable series that was like painted, and they could jump forward, but only forward in time.
It wasn't. That was It was X Factor. It was Clayton Crane was the artist. Kyle Yostin.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was that's a whole era of X-Men that really should get like omnibus reprints.
Yeah.
The black and white X Factor of it all. Wait, no, not X-Force. Sorry, X-Force.
Oh, where they all had gray with slight red in their costumes. That was cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's all a part of that Messiah complex.
But yeah, this was good. I like this a lot. And I like the end of it too with Sinister cloning Moira McTaggart so that he can just create his own timelines and then kill her when he doesn't like how it's going. I was like, shit, that's pretty dope.
And then download stuff into his brain. That's a very cool evolution of this concept. It's an interesting thing to do, which is also something that they've kind of been doing in this series as a whole. Is the like mutant technology, like what happens when you combine multiple powers, which is really cool.
The five,
yeah,
right. The five in order to
yeah.
And I think that was one of the reasons why that was actually my favorite scene of this whole book. Sinister trying to manipulate through proxy Hope to join the Quiet Council because he wanted to keep a member of the Five closer to in order to manipulate her also. But the whole internal scene of his where he thinks he's got everybody figured out, and then you hear his thoughts of like, oh fuck shit. Can I change my vote?
Yeah.
Like I thought that was guys. Tangent. I forgot to tell you guys something.
What is it?
Uh-oh.
I was on vacation when I found something that we were all looking for,
Oh.
and I forgot to tell you.
Listen, what did you find?
Brave and the Bold by Wade.
Oh,
and
nice.
Perez.
Oh,
Nice.
wonderful.
I only found one copy each in Florida.
That's awesome.
Right?
We
That's
were
pretty
just
cool.
talking about it. Yeah.
I know.
gonna-
That's why I was like, holy shit.
We should do that for a book club, and when we start doing book clubs again.
Oh, that would be awesome. We should start doing book clubs again.
Yeah.
Face should start doing book clubs again.
Yeah, I think you guys would really like it. It's really cool.
Actually, the day after you had mentioned that, I had come across my issues of The Brave and the Bold
Flash
with Hal and Barry.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that one too. Also, Mark Waid. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
And that was at a time when I think I think they were both out of, both dead. Hal was the Spectre, I guess.
It was right after Infinite Crisis, and it was a book in the past, so it was like out of continuity.
Oh yeah,
I think so. It was either right before or right after, but both characters were off the board.
Yeah. And
It's right after, because that's when Bart became the Flash.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This book.
Yes.
But
So
yeah,
the
X-Men.
the cover of this I thought was really cool. The Last Supper kind of pose.
Yeah.
And
Mark
it did
Brooks.
something that I'm not sure I've seen before, where the center seat is empty. And they're like all looking towards it, like who is going to be in this seat, I think is very interesting. Yeah.
What do you guys think of Lucas Wernick's art? Like I've liked him since that Iron Fist series from last year.
Yeah,
and he just seems like he's been subtly showing up places, and I enjoy it.
He is very solid.
Yeah. The faces, especially on Sinister, are a little cartoony sometimes. But I liked the art. I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm. It feels a little bit like Kelly.
What's that?
Who?
God, what's his name? Something Caselli.
Stefano Caselli.
Doesn't really matter. Stefano Caselli. Stefano.
Yeah,
But
a little bit.
anything else to say about this book?
I didn't know that Irene Adler, Destiny, or even Mystique were that old, which I thought was a surprise.
Yeah, I didn't know that until House of X Powers of 10.
Yeah. Mystique, I kind of had an inkling was a little older, but I didn't know she was, Mr. Sinister here. Well, I guess this is just early 1900s. And I like the concept, or, her deal of, there's not one future, there's multiple possible futures is cool.
Millions.
And, I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, this was a solid first issue. Like, I feel I could either continue reading this in issues or return to it in 6 months, and it'll just be solid, But I think I'm pulling the first arc at least. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, you got it in.
Nice.
Is that mine?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you. All right. Time for some Thunder Rounds.
Thunder Rounds.
A Thunder Round is a 60-second review. We're each going to do one. Noel's up first, I think. Well, you know what? He is. He's up first. Which one are you doing, Noel?
Oh, I'm going with Rogue Sun.
Rogue Sun, #2 from Image Comics, written by Ryan Parrott, with art by Abel. I'm going to put 60 seconds on your clock and go.
We read together Supermassive, which is the the Radiant Black crossover event that introduced this character. He was a shit, but I guess he had a heart of gold or a sun in his heart. Who knows? Whatever. The first issue premiered like a week later, and then they killed the main character, and then his estranged son, took the suit. This issue kind of explores that a little bit more, where he has to reconcile with the ghost of his dad inside this suit while he is a little twerp fighting crime. I enjoyed this. It was very rote, it was very by the numbers. However, I enjoyed this because they did not redeem the father at all. It actually is revealed that he's an even bigger piece of shit.
Oh.
He bequeathed the suit to his estranged son because he didn't want to endanger his new family, which is
End of round. That's the end.
What a jerk.
crazy gross. And
He's out.
He refuses. He refuses to shut up. That's the whole point of the Thunder round.
No,
That's right. I was adding him back in. Brian, you're up.
Excellent.
You're going to do Step by Bloody Step
What am I
number
doing?
2 from Image Comics.
That's right.
Written by, does that remind you of that?
Yeah.
Written by Cy Spurrier or Simon. Perhaps pronounced Simone. I don't know. Cy Spurrier, art by Matea Bergara and Matt Lopez.
Oh, Cy Spurrier is listed last on the cover. That's interesting.
Oh.
Well, there aren't any words in it.
I mean, DC did that for a while where they
Did that?
put the artist first. Yeah.
Watch is stupid. It's being stupid. 60 seconds on the clock and go.
This was pretty cool. The art continues to be really good. They both in execution and also what they choose to draw, like the coolness of the scenery and that kind of thing. It is confusing, to say the least. There's not as much to get as I would like. He's telling this story. There are apparent time jumps. One of them is very apparent. You just aren't given that much about what's happening with the story, and I want to keep going and see if it turns out really cool because the art is really good, and the world that they've constructed looks really cool. But I don't know. I hope there will be more soon-ish.
End of round. Okay. I didn't say anything, but you're welcome.
Oh, I was just, thanking you for that expression. Or
Thank you for your time.
Halfway through this issue, I kind of realized like I don't need a plot, or it's just like it's like looking at 3 paintings next to each other and you just kind of fill in the gaps. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll fill in a little bit more, but it wasn't enough to like get me to stop, but it also wasn't enough to get me to rave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was it like
because it's beautiful.
People talk in symbols and you know something is happening, but I'm like I don't know exactly what it is. It's not being communicated.
It was solid.
Much.
Yeah. It was solid, but it's challenging.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a timer that they can help me out with?
I got you.
Because I don't. Thank you, brother. I am going to be doing a Thunder round.
Thunder round.
Thank you. And mine will be about Amazing Spider-Man number 93, the final issue of this particular series from Marvel Comics, written by Zeb Wells with art by Patrick Gleason.
And go.
All right. So thank God that the previous run was done because that really sputtered out. And this one was delightful. This is basically like a brand new day. Is a rotating team of writers and artists all telling the same overall story, which is about the Beyond Corporation and how Peter Parker has radiation poisoning. And so he's not Spider-Man, but the Beyond Corporation owns the rights to the Spider-Man name and costume anyway. So they give it to Ben Reilly, who you may know as the 90s clone of Spider-Man. And so he becomes the Spider-Man while Peter Parker is laid up. And basically, of course, the Beyond Corporation is bad. Spoiler alert. We all knew that going in. And this basically is taking Ben Reilly and creating a whole new version of the character by the end of it. I did not know that that's what they were doing, but I'm kind of glad they did it because how much could he just be? Damn it!
What's new about it? Like,
you said nothing about this book.
I loved it.
About this issue.
I loved it.
Nice.
That's all you need to know.
I wish, you know what? I wish we would have forced Brian to read this, and we'll bring it up in the full lineup, because this was, even not having read all of Beyond, this still was a really strong issue, and you had all the context you needed at the very beginning.
Yeah,
this was a really good example of any issue could be your first one. because
even the
they
last
laid
issue.
everything out. Yeah, seriously, like they
Yeah.
laid everything out very efficiently, and then conflict, and it was just like a really solid all the way through. Do you want to talk about like the big reveal at the end?
I guess, because you know what? I don't think anyone cares about Ben Reilly as much as I do. So I can't imagine that there are people out there who are going to be like, no, you spoiled it for us. But basically, because of what happens in this issue, he has his entire being overwritten.
Oh,
And he comes back as a new character called Chasm.
Chasm.
Yeah, the way that it kind of happens is the Beyond Corporation has slowly been taking away memories, so he understands that he was a clone of Peter Parker, but he like misses core memories, like the talk with Uncle Ben. They start removing little core pieces of him, and then at the end of this, he loses the rest of his memory. So he just knows he is him and that Peter bad. And that's essentially it.
There's an antagonistic thing going on.
It looks like they're trying to turn him into Venom.
He looks a lot like Venom.
I'm not really sure Peter is supposed to be bad. I think it's just jealousy of you're the real one and I'm not.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I like the idea. So like, there's this whole like thing where he gets overtaken by rewritable matter goo.
Yes.
And he's in his costume, and it rewrites. It's like the matter helps rewrite things based off of emotion and intention. So it creates this kind of living costume for him, based off of his own impression of himself, which is this like weird venomish, almost Spider-Man 2099 looking amalgam costume, and it was pretty slick. Like it was a pastiche of 90s comics that wasn't edgelord stupid. It was just really well done.
Nice.
Yeah. I was afraid because I was enjoying this entire run, and even their point BEY issues I thought were good, unnecessary but still solid. This is going to be a really good, hopefully omnibus someday, and I'm going to grab it. I think this is really strong.
I think it's going to be 4 trades total.
Mm-hmm.
4 Thicky Boy trades, and then hopefully maybe an oversized collection eventually.
And like, it doesn't just end. I assumed that this would be completely wrapped up and we would fresh new number 1 because I'm doing. But literally, it's a cliffhanger. It's actually a couple of cliffhangers to lead us into number 1, which is who's going to be writing it?
This creative team, well, the writer of this, Zub.
Oh,
Or
Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr. is back.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
it's it has been a fun kind. A lot of times when they do these like short runs or short events or whatever, it feels like filler. This was filler, but it felt meaty. It felt like it mattered. It does have a bit of a climax with the Ben of it all. So you could just read this and decide whether you want to keep going or not. It was good.
Yeah, this is
a filler in a meat pie.
It's a meat pie.
Yeah.
This run has been a meat pie.
That's cool. That's hype.
All right. So those are our Thunder rounds. It's time to do our JLA Avengers raffle drawing. Let's see. How can I do this? So I have already been all of the people who have bought. All right. So here's the thing. Noel, do you want to tell them what's going on?
Sure. Okay. So,
George
anybody that's aware, the amazing, incomparable, fantastic, classic illustrator George Perez is suffering from pancreatic cancer. It is terminal, and he is in hospice care. So the Hero Initiative, which is an organization dedicated to providing care and resources to creators, comic creators without insurance and stuff, put together this reprint, this magical, should never have happened reprint of JLA Avengers from 2007, 2006. Either way, written by Kurt Busiek with art by George Perez. It is a 4-issue prestige edition. We actually did a book
We
club
did a
of
book
it.
club on it. Yes.
Yeah. This is the edition we're talking about. So there was only 7,000 printed of this book. 7,000. It has been highly sought. People have been flipping it on eBay and stuff. This is disgusting, JD. You should probably not do that. Thank you very much.
Well, what is the extra thing? There's the 4 issues, and then there's some art of an earlier version of it. Is that what it is?
No, there's sketches from earlier versions, a couple of essays, some oral history stuff. It's littered with some covers that were unused. It's literally a third of this book is extras.
That's cool.
So the Hero Initiative, Marvel, and DC created this short print run. A lot of people are freaking the fuck out because it was hard to get, and a lot of people were flipping it for high prices. So we thought it would be great to, instead of get it for highest bidder or make it unavailable to somebody who just couldn't pay a lot, to do a raffle where all proceeds are going to the Hero Initiative and or Pancreatic Cancer. I'm not exactly, just charity. Specific charity to garner more funds for this book. Not only is it everyone has the ability to win, and you don't have to drop $250 to $300 for just this book, and you don't know where it's going. But also, it was an opportunity to generate more than $30 for the Hero Initiative. So that's where we're at. For the last month, you have been selling raffle tickets, and we are about to do the live drawing. I was going to say how many people are in this, but it doesn't matter. You've got the live drawing ready to rock.
100 and something people, or 100 and something entries, I should say. All right. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'm going to go to another computer. That's why I have my iPhone, because we've set it up. Noel set it up on this website, which takes all of the entries and creates a spinning wheel out of it. So I'm going to go up to the other computer. I'm going to spin the wheel, and we'll figure out who wins. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear me, but I'm going to go up.
We'll narrate it.
JD
He's
is
walking. He's walking to his computer. Everyone, do it like
a shirt.
Yeah, do it like golf. Like he's approaching the green.
If we could have.
I don't want to see your face. I want to see the wheel.
Please.
Switch the camera.
We don't want to see your face.
Yeah, and then just get really deep into the wheel.
Deep into the
No,
wheel.
I meant switch the camera. It doesn't matter.
Just get deep into the wheel.
Fuck it.
Yeah, I like that sentence too. Here it is.
The wheel
is spinning.
It's being spun.
It's spinning so fast the colors are blending together. It's slowing down.
It's slowing down.
It's on yellow.
Is it going to green?
Brian
Anderson.
You are
Brian Anderson. Congratulations! You win JLA Avengers Hero Initiative.
Very cool.
Brian Anderson is actually. Wait, can anybody actually hear this? Because he took us off layout.
I don't know, actually.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, we've been narrating this whole thing. I don't even think JD can hear us. I'm on screen now for some reason. We narrated that whole thing, JD, and it's
because
anyone who's interested.
Did you hear any of it?
That will be in the audio. Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
It will also be available on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
No, just like with the Thunder Rounds, when I make you a
Thunder Rounds.
When I make you full screen, we can still hear everybody.
Excellent.
Okay. I mean,
you can hear, right? I'm not muted, am I? Good. I'm good.
No, but
I'm Brian Anderson.
Brian Anderson.
Excellent. Yay, Brian
Wonderful.
Anderson.
He's going to be very happy.
Awesome.
Brian is a frequenter at the shop.
Yes. And he's a very big George Perez fan, as are most of us, actually. I don't know anybody who's not. So thank you, everybody, who donated. And, can hear you guys. I heard I didn't win, LOL, says Hal.
Oh, yeah. Now let's list all of the people who didn't win. Hal, 2814, did not win.
Oh, yeah. Just get them all.
Oh, Brian Anderson is actually in the chat. He says, I.M. thrilled. It's weird that there's no exclamation points.
He's tearing up.
Thrilled. He's not going to rub it in your face. It's just statements of fact.
Yeah. At least it's not a question mark.
Exactly.
He's tearing up.
Yeah.
Brian.
So yeah, congrats, Brian. Thank you.
Nice.
Oh,
Noel's
sorry.
holding
Thank
up
you to
a
everybody who
copy.
bought raffle tickets.
Not the
That's
copy you'll get.
and that
That's Noel's
is
copy.
close to, if not a little over, $300 that gets donated to the Hero Initiative. So
Oh,
that's
hold
fucking
on. Let me
awesome.
go up and look. I can look at the exact thing. Hold on. The exact number. of
That's-
people. Hold on.
Well, it's $5 a person at 105 people, right? Or 105
It's-
entries, I should say.
Yeah,
109.
but then also he had sold one outright, so it ends up being close to between 4 and 5 being donated.
So
That's
yeah, I
great.
actually had another copy, and I was telling another customer about it, and he has a relative who just died of pancreatic cancer. So
Oh.
he said, I will just buy it right now for $200 and just put all
Oh.
that money towards the.
Oh.
So yeah, it's 107. What did I say? 107 people.
Yeah,
At $5 a piece. How much is that?
it's $535.
$535.
So 500.
So $735.
That's awesome.
So yeah, $735 is going to the Hero Initiative. So thank you, everybody. I'm sorry for everyone who didn't win. I know, but this was Noel's idea. I didn't know what to do, honestly. I was like, I've got these copies. What do I put it up on eBay like everyone else is? And he's like, nah, bruh. Do a raffle ticket, because I didn't want to do the eBay thing. I'm a classist, and I didn't want just the person with the most money
Yeah.
to buy the thing.
Yeah.
I wanted everyone to have a fair shot. And so Noel was like, well, just do a raffle, $5 ticket. Everyone can afford that. And
Yeah,
then
there was
that lets everyone have a chance.
Which one was it? There was a lot of big chain stores. I think Midtown is the one that comes to mind, that decided to just sell it for 200, and because they got a bunch of copies, just to sell it for 200, and yay. But then I was like, well, there's a lot of people that can't just drop $200, but they still
Yes.
want a chance and or want the book more than anyone else, right?
It's kind of classist even that they had put on the other side. Like, why does Midtown get a lot of copies?
Well,
Right?
it's just it's based off of your. I mean, you get allocated books based off of your
Yeah.
purchasing, right? So
Exactly.
if you purchase 1,000
Right.
versus somebody that purchases 10,
Yeah.
you get allocated 20 and 1. Right?
I think they should.
I ordered-
still-
I ordered 20 copies of the book knowing
Yeah.
I would get allocated. And luckily I was allocated 3 copies. So
Yeah. I mean, I feel like even that is like a money structure. They should just, instead of allocating 20 copies to somebody who could pay for 1,000, they should give 1 to everyone first, and then if there's more, 2
Well, I
to
think-
everyone.
I think every store got a copy,
Yeah.
and then the allocation happened after that, because there's less than 7,000 stores, direct market stores, right?
I don't know.
it's so sad.
No idea.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a lot.
Anyway. So anyway, I'm so glad that we were able to do that. I'm glad we got some copies that we could raise some money with. All right, y'all's. Let's do the damn thing. We're going to continue with X-Men Unlimited, Latitude #1 by Hickman and Declan Shalvey. Oh, thank God. Oh, all of this time, finally, we get a book with Wolverine at center. Wolverine jumps into the void when AIM manages a covert infiltration of the Sword Station and kidnaps 3 mutants. It's up to Wolvie to take one giant leap for man and get them back. From the vacuum of space to the dripping guts of an evil supercomputer, Logan will stop at nothing to save his friends. I don't remember if I finished this. I'm gonna go bring it up.
Did you get to the part where he saved 2, but not all of his friends?
I think he saved one friend. It was
He saves
Nightcrawler.
another friend.
Oh shit!
I don't know how friendly they are, but they know each other. It's Chamber.
They're
He's very
acquaintances.
friendly with Nightcrawler.
Yeah. Oh, with Nightcrawler for sure.
Not as friendly as he is with
Stephen
Slim.
Gray and Scott Summers.
Yeah,
They're very friendly.
thruple baby.
So I picked this book because it was originally digital. But it was originally digital continuous scroll. And
sure.
so the original way that this was So like when you get a chance to pull up the book for anybody that's listening, originally it was like one panel book, and it was all very long panels. So somebody is scrolling down on their phone or their device, and they see the story kind of progress in an up and down fashion, as opposed to moving your eye left to right. Declan Shalvey, the artist and co-plotter of this book with Hickman, had spoken about how this was probably the most challenging thing he's ever done, because not only did they have to devise a comic that was only visible or readable in one direction, he devised it in such a way that it would still potentially work in print. He kept everything at certain lengths and heights, so he'd be able to move panels over to the left and right instead of just being a constant scroll. So I thought that this was really fucking fascinating. The story itself is very just point and click, but construction of this book, the construction of this book I thought was dope as shit, and I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts. Like, I love Hickman, and he is the kind of writer that can be incredibly sparse. Like, he doesn't need to, like, there's times when he just like fills the page with zeros and ones and words, and it's incomprehensible. And there's times when he's just like, here's the idea, you do you. This feels like more Shelby than anything else, and I thought it was dope as hell. Like, this interrogation scene,
I love this.
It works as 16 panels, 20 panels. 16 panels. But I imagine it would also be just as funny constantly scrolling up, and you just kind of keep seeing the flashes. I thought this was like a feat of the format.
A feat of
what?
A
feat of what?
The format.
Oh, indeed.
Format, yes. This is the very first time I've ever seen a digital first scrolling comic book translated well into panels. I had no idea that this was of course, it's obvious now that you've said it, but I didn't realize that this was one of those scrolling digital firsts. This was excellent. And my favorite part was the scene where he's interrogating an AIM agent, and then the AIM agent has the last laugh, which we rarely get.
Yeah.
I really like that. But otherwise, the story itself was just fine. You know what? when Wolverine is slicing and dicing the MODOK AI, also funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. There was some line in particular that he said, and I don't remember what, but that was when Wolverine starts Terry's like, what are you gonna do on this whole station? And he starts cutting into him, and he's like, wait a second, that was my memory of this thing. No, the original Star Wars. You can't get those. Yeah. You can't see those in streaming or on.
Yeah, that made me laugh too.
Yeah. Yeah. I also thought the format went really well. When I saw that it was a digital first, I was like, nuts. Reading a digital first. I don't think, not just the scrolling, JD, but I don't think I've ever seen a digital first that I thought really strongly compared to like a regular comic. There have been a couple that I enjoyed, and there have been some that I think were always intended as full page, just digital first, and those are basically the same. But when it's the kind of half page thing, it doesn't usually work out that well either. There is a lot of downward motion in this story, which I imagine works quite well for a scroll, but worked well here too.
This page you're showing, there was a moment where I had to, for the whole book, you're kind of going up, down, and then left, right, up, down, because they're long panels. And then sometimes too, the progression is up and down. But then here they reformat the panels to be traditional left to right.
Yeah.
And it's not jarring, but it also is like all right, you do it, but then you're like, okay, this is the right direction. Cause okay. Like it's, it was really well done. It's the same kind of like uncertainty that sometimes you get when you see the panel bleed through the middle of the staple fold, and you're like, oh,
You gotta
this is
read.
a
You gotta
full-
read
this is a
two
full left
panels
to right. Got
sometimes
it.
to
Got it.
figure
Got
out.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes
my
it
favorite
works
part-
both ways. You're like, what the?
My favorite part of this panel is two things. One, he's reading an AIM newspaper.
Yeah.
It's not a
Full
regular
propaganda.
newspaper. They have a printing press. They have writers and photographers and illustrators who do an AIM-only newspaper.
And the photography
And then
is of people in AIM costumes.
In AIM
They're all
costumes.
the same.
You don't maintain propaganda or just a cult without top tier
It's true.
propaganda.
It's
Yeah.
true.
There are AIM
my
members whose
second-
job is to just right.
My second favorite part is that the AIM outfit is a onesie that he has.
Yeah.
He is sitting completely naked on the toilet because it's a onesie.
Yep.
And of course, helmet on. Of course, still.
Of course.
Guys, there's no access panel in your.
Yeah, it's
AIM
not
uniform.
Right.
one of those old
It's a-
timey cartoon
It's a full
pajamas.
kit, the whole nine. Yeah.
I'm just
Now, I
saying,
have a
for
question.
called the advanced idea mechanics, you would think they would create zippers.
Oh, JD,
Everyone
you
has
have,
a budget.
You have no
Everyone has a
idea.
budget.
You have no idea why that is so advanced.
I
Why
say,
this choice
I'm so not advanced
Exactly.
that I can't even comprehend. Yeah.
could not begin to understand the advantages of getting mostly nude when you're on the toilet.
Also, too, the level of efficiency involved with just one piece of clothing and like one accessory creates X amount of more time for them to work on the
print
A and the
newspapers.
I and M
Yeah.
of AIM.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the idea mechanics part.
Yeah. Now I have a question. A few pages before this, they Nightcrawler and Wolverine teleport in. That page on the left, and when Wolverine falls off the side of something, like they don't teleport in with him off the side. He just falls over.
Oh, I read that as, you know, he just cut it too close to the edge, and he was like, ugh.
Yeah.
See,
As soon as
that's
he
what I
got
was
his
thinking
bearing.
at first too, but
Yeah.
he is squarely on the ground there.
Well, I mean, he's got a wide gate, so
He
they
does.
teleported in, and only
Yeah.
1 foot was down. Yeah.
But luckily, Nightcrawler grabs him, and they're fine.
Yeah. This book is great.
Yeah, I like to see
This is
Chamber
really
too.
funny.
I always like
Yeah.
the Generation X
And I think-
comic.
I think they just murder a lot in this book. But I think this is the first 4 digital chapters. And I think Shalvey wrote Andrew the next handful of chapters. Because they have a whole thing here where you can go online and actually finish reading it. But I think they are actually going to print the next issue.
Oh, cool.
hope
There's
so, yeah.
also a digital first of Dugan wrote one that's like this too.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel usually when we say stuff like it's digital first, it's essentially it's usually like a poorly done and or like
Yeah, and then when they
almost comics.
translate it, like I remember when we were reading that, we looked at the print versus the digital first one, and there was clearly like a leg extending.
Yeah, it wasn't.
From one
They
part to
just
the next. That was
it
that
wasn't
was
great.
It was Batman. I
eliminated.
am Batman Second Son or something. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and this
Yeah.
is not like that at all. You wouldn't know, and the art itself is
No.
really good too. Like just the
Yeah.
the actual.
Jack and Shelby's one of my
drawing.
favorites. He's great.
Yeah.
All right, Shadow War Alpha #1 from DC Comics by Joshua Williamson and Victor Bogdanovic. When Deathstroke assassinates Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul demands revenge and sends her League of Shadows to kill Deathstroke and Deathstroke Incorporated. Batman and Robin must team up to track down Deathstroke and bring him to justice. But do they? Expect over-the-top fights, action, mystery, and betrayal as this crossover event creates a major impact on the DCU. I didn't read it.
You didn't read it, JD.
Didn't read it.
Creates a major impact on the DCU.
Damn
Yeah,
it.
there's
Had I known that in advance, I would have read it.
nonstop
think
fights and all those other
Things
hyperbole.
that they said.
Yeah.
How is
What
it?
do
I
you
don't
think?
care. Ooh, this looks nice though.
Bogdanovic is good. Like he's a fill-in for detective, or I'm sorry, fill-in makes it sound bad. He's like the swapped out art here and there for detective with Tomasi, and then as well as with Dan Mora. He also did a bunch of Super Sun stuff. Like he's been a solid DC guy for a while. That no one
Yeah,
knows
I
about.
mean, he's good if you really want a
There's a
guy
little bit of
who,
Porter in there.
it's gosh, what's his name? It's Capullo.
Capullo.
Oh,
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is this is Capullo all day.
Yeah. And
Look at that.
especially the jaw lines. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The way he draws Ra's al Ghul is essentially just old Bruce. Capullo's old Bruce.
Yeah.
This book, maybe these characters, you know, the Ra's al Ghul of it all, have very specific audiences. I'm not the mark for this book, but I
Right.
wanted to give
Ooh.
it a shot. Oh yeah,
That's
they
right,
straight up
JD.
kill him. Yeah.
Serious impact to the DCU.
I'm not the mark for this book. Sometimes I'll read a book like this and I'll hope that it's the exception, not the rule, that kind of drags me in because I usually not the mark for it. This wasn't it, but I can recognize that if you are fans of the Demon and the whole like League of Assassins stuff, you'll fucking love this. It was very by the numbers in like a well done way. That was a cool scene, like what I should say versus what I do. There's a lot of cool bits here, but at some level, I think I just don't care because I don't really care about Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul. What do you think, Brian?
I have always liked Ra's al
Yeah.
Ghul. I like to pronounce it Ra's al Ghul, and then at one point found out it's because everyone was like, "Oh no, it's Raish," and then apparently it's like two different dialects. So I'm like, "All right, I'm going to go back to Ra's." But that may not be right. I don't speak Arabic, but yeah. I always thought he was cool. I always liked Talia more as the torn between loyalty to Ross but love of Batman, and for the last like 15 years she's just been another Ra's al Ghul, basically like a villain. But it doesn't look like they're going back on that anytime soon.
I think that's where this book lost me though. So it starts in a fascinating place. The Lazarus pits aren't working as well as they used to. Rosh for the first time, or Ras, whatever. RAG. He for the first time has been feeling his age, so he's becoming sentimental, which is a good conflict. I'm down. So he decides to turn himself in to use what's left of the pit's science to actually help, as opposed to he makes the decision to stop considering or treating the human race as a virus, which is a decent turn.
Yeah.
But then they just kill him, and the rest of the conflict is Talia mad, Talia kill.
Just like
Which,
we gotta go.
So it started interesting, and this is a kind of a cool, at least in modern times, a cool new conflict with an established character that makes sense. But then they just immediately within the issue reverse it and go back to the trope of Talia mad, murder all, which was done by Morrison. It was done by Dixon. It was done by and it was just recently done by Bendis. It's just the same fucking plot point.
And also kind of a thing, you know, where he's like, I'm going to give the whole world the secrets of the Lazarus Pit right after this sentence that I'm about to say right now. Hopefully nobody shoots me. And, you know, it's it was kind of a cheap trick. And why would he do it that way? You know?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just release it and then, like, this is where you're going to say all the equations? Like, what are you going to do?
I don't know. It could have been interesting, but as of right now, it's just samesies. And that's what I meant by, like, I'm not maybe the audience or the mark for this story, because it very quickly turned into something that is very familiar. So
I agree. I really like the Ra's al Ghul stuff, but the whole all bat and non-powered characters and assassins are at war story is definitely not one that
I don't care,
like, super into, unless it happens to be just an awesome story.
I also don't love Joshua Williamson's interpretation of Deathstroke. I think it's super weird and very playful.
Yeah,
And
where
I
because
don't
it's
like
not Deathstroke, as it turns out.
Oh yeah,
Deathstroke did not do
to
this.
the killer.
Yeah,
But
and
we read the first 2 issues of that Deathstroke
Yeah.
Inc. book, and it's like a fucking comedy. It's like this
Yeah.
dude is an assassin, a
Yeah.
very brutal assassin. He's also very recently a statutory rapist. And it's just, I mean, you can't just immediately make him jokey.
The best,
Right?
yeah, like the
It's
the
just-
best that he is like he's got integrity and he can sometimes turn sort of to good, but then
shitty
yeah,
for the
making
right
him-
reasons, but always
Yeah.
shitty.
Yeah, and he doesn't joke around with people, you know.
Him and Black Canary bantering was just like, what the fuck am I reading? Like it felt really, really weird. And this is that Deathstroke. And I mean, he's got, I guess, since stopping reading that book, there's a whole like cadre of D-list supervillains that he's working with. There was Prometheus was in there and someone else. I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but by then I was just kind of checked out.
Yeah,
I'd be very interested to see like if this, because I guess this is like a big old crossover amongst all the Bat Family books.
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe.
I
don't know.
You know, it's something we haven't seen. Although we probably won't after he got killed, but we haven't seen the like. I think I'm doing the right thing, and I need to eliminate most of humanity for that to happen. Side of Ra's al Ghul in quite some time.
Yeah,
you know they've kind of left that by the wayside, and he's just the mastermind ruler of the League of Assassins, League of Shadows. And I think that's cool. I like his like I'm an environmentalist, and the problem with the Earth is that there's about 7 billion too many people.
I think that's I think that's the reason why I was even more harsh on this book, because if it was just straightforward, the second half would be like, oh, all right, that's comfort. But it had such a cool premise.
Yeah.
Of what if RAG decided to, I don't know, switch sides for a hot second. You know, like make a good argument for it.
And it's a good reason, too. He was always like, I think humanity is a real big problem. And then he's like, you know what? I've been looking around and humanity is actually pretty good. They can do a lot of good stuff.
They immediately fridge him.
Yeah.
For this boring ass Talia plot. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, there's Lazarus pits around.
That's true.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
But even you know, that's the only interesting thing about it too, because even Talia refuses to use the Lazarus pit to heal her like wound. So is there something going on with the pits that we don't know about? Which I thought was cool.
I don't know. But he was about to give it the secrets. So who knows?
He said what was left of the Lazarus pits. There's probably something we don't know. But we're probably losing listeners left and right.
I mean, I'm not going to find out.
Read this.
Tells me.
Read this at your own peril. Let us know if we're completely wrong, and the next 2 issues or chapters of this crossover are just like, dudes, I'll totally go back and read it. This one kind of left me cold.
Well, move the frick on to talk about Moon Knight,
the Marvel
Moon Knight TV
series.
Show.
Oh yes,
the Marvel series Moon Knight.
There you go, the one
Marvel
on the TV
television series. Yeah.
Yes, streaming.
You know, I should have brought this up, but I didn't. Oh, is it in the notes?
Synopsis?
Oh, I didn't put a synopsis in there. It's just
humble.
Directed by Mohamed Diab, starring Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke, and May Kalamawi. This was pretty good. I think the best part of it was Oscar Isaac. Is it Isaac?
He was a pretty big part of it.
Isaac.
Isaac, singular.
But like, the work he does in this series is extraordinary. I think he's very, very good in this. I've seen at this point a lot of Oscar Isaac movies, and him taking the way I know Oscar Isaac to be generally in his films and creating this new schlubby, dopey character with a British accent, I think was very, very well done. I think a lot of people would overdo it, and I think he's right there. He's at the cusp of overdoing it, but it never quite breaches that for me. I think it's quite believable and quite charming, especially the scene where he finally goes and gets a steak. And the sequences wherein he wakes up in more and more dangerous situations, more and more confused and concerned, I think all really worked. I think that stuff was really charming and fun to watch. I think the CG of this TV show is not up to par with Marvel standards. I think there's been a bunch of times, there's a bunch of times in this show where, cars are crashing into each other, things are happening. I'm like, that's not there. That's fake. I also really don't like his full CG costume.
Really?
As soon as he stands up and I saw the cape, I was like, oh, that's CG. And then when he turns around and the camera rushes towards him, all CG. So all that stuff sort of bothered me. But the thing itself, and Oscar Isaac itself was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. What did you think? No.
Oh, all positives for me. We're what, 4 or 5 Marvel shows in at this point, the Disney Plus shows, 3 or 4 of them. Either way, it's taken that long for me to actually understand the format. These are not typical pilots or episodes of a TV show. This is a 6-hour movie. So it's very difficult to just judge it on one. I saw a lot of people reacting to the first episode as if it was a whole piece, and normal TV shows, it would have been a whole piece. This wasn't. And that's okay, because that's the format they're working in. It felt very much like a first issue. It was just tease. It was the introduction of a major conflict, and then it goes away. Like, for television standards, that could be jarring, but since we've been reading comic books for the last 30 years, there's a certain comfort to it. It also gives a certain leeway. I'm more excited for the second issue. And then I was watching a bunch of interviews of the cast, like, passively while I was at work today. And what I found interesting was every single one of the actors that they're interviewing kept referring to it as a Marvel movie. And we're doing a Marvel movie. And I got hired for a Marvel movie. None of them are referring to it as a TV show, which I thought was really cool. They're all approaching it the same way.
Do that. They're like, every time you're in a Marvel project, refer to it as a Marvel movie.
They were all very just kind of like, not that there's like a prestige issue anymore, because television is just as prestigious as movies, as opposed to 20 years ago. But there's a level of complexity that they're going for, and I appreciate the shit out of the swing of it.
And just that they want to make it like, these are all happening together. This is as much happening in this universe. Yeah.
This is just as impactful and as important as Shang-Chi, as Eternals. This is legitimate, not a side story.
Right. This is an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very positive about all that. I thought Ethan Hawke was fucking creepy and great. Yeah. I love him. And the fact that he's in a Marvel thing just kind of blows my mind, because less than a couple months ago we were watching Before Sunrise. Oscar Isaac is just perfect. I love the hot takes about his accent, but then I think a lot of people aren't understanding the fact that he's not British, but his personality thinks he's British, or whatever he's in thinks he's British. So it is a fake accent in context also. And I thought that was a cool bit of business. I just like this a lot. Man, it was fun.
Yeah,
more so than the other one.
I've always liked Moon Knight. I like Egyptian pantheon stuff, and so I'm glad that they're doing that version of Moon Knight, because sometimes he's just a guy with gadgets and a costume and that kind of thing. but and I'm glad that Marvel in general seems to be. You know, they gave Shang-Chi the 10 rings. They gave, you know, that I like that. I prefer that. You know, in stories of this nature. So yeah, he was great. Oscar Isaac was great. This happens all the time in shows of this nature. But if you have a date and you are 2 days late for that date, and you call up and you're like, "Where are you? It's Sunday. I thought it was Friday." What kind of mad person would be like, "Lose my number"? Wouldn't you say, like, they know each other? Right? Wouldn't she be like, "Are you serious?" You know, you think it's Sunday?
He wasn't in work the last 2 days.
Right. Right.
You think the question would be like, "Hey man, you disappeared for 2 days.
Yeah.
What's up? You all right?"
Like, what's going on? Where
And also,
just,
I said the same thing to Sushan. I was like, just say the words, "Hey, I don't know what happened. I've literally been asleep for 2 days. I don't know what's going on. I'm so," you know what I mean? But instead, because they want, yeah. I've got narco sleepy.
I've got narco sleepy.
I mean, it's not even worth pushing, but he does have that whole bit at the beginning, or when he's talking to the mannequin, where how is he going to be able to date somebody, or when he starts dating, does he broach the subject of, I have to chain myself up when I go to sleep?
Right.
Sure.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So, you know, it's not something hey, by the way, I
true.
lose time, so maybe we could redo this date. Like, it's more
right.
like,
that's a good point.
I was thinking more from her end, though. Like, if somebody told me that, I'd be like, "Oh, wow, no, it's Sunday."
I also really dug the there's a scene in there's a scene in the bathroom when the CG for me broke apart, not with his costume, with the monster. I thought the monster was weak, but I was okay with the costume because at least it looked mostly physical, and I know that they did make that costume, so there was also at least photo reference for the physical costume, whereas that Anubis monster was just like a video game character. But the revelation of Mark and Steven talking for the first time.
Yes.
They were physically different. They were visually different, and they were clearly different. You know, like those were two different people talking to each other. And it was really effective in a really simple way. Like, even the way that the camera pans, it's a close up on Steven, and you see his reflection in the background, blurry, talking to him, not moving with him. And then all of a sudden it comes into focus. It was just really fucking impressive.
You don't really get, like, there's a short time where he's got, like, his face is entirely in shadow. And they're talking, you know, it was a very cool way to reveal, you know, because obviously we all know he looks exactly the same, but yeah.
But, like, you know, like the difference between the glassy eyes, the bags under his eyes, and the pale skin versus confident Oscar Isaac, same exact person, but they are not the same person. And I thought that was a really, really cool, clear visual way. And also, too, I thought it was fucking gnarly that he woke up on a countryside with a dislocated jaw.
Yeah.
That was so fucked up.
Yeah. He waves at the guy, and the guy waves back. What are you doing? Shoot him.
I forgot about the wave.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
That was cool.
In the comments. In the comments, Todd said, "I am so old. I read the first ever issue of Moon Knight by I never knew how to say this. Doug Monk. Doug Monk.
I don't think it's that one.
And Bill Sienkiewicz. First episode was good, but not enough to really judge what is still to come. I wish at least a couple episodes had been released at once." Mars says, "I was upset with my husband when he was 2 hours late for our second date. Car trouble? 2 days? I don't know."
But it was car trouble. What could he do, Mars comments?
Mars, I think if it was 2 days, then he just wouldn't be your husband. Yeah.
And also, Mars Comics, was this before cell phones? Like, he didn't have a way to call you or anything. Yeah.
And Hal says, "Not to nitpick. What's the word?
Nitpick.
It's nitpick.
It's nitpick. Oh, he says nitpick. But don't.
Yeah, it was messing me up.
Yeah.
Not to nitpick, but wouldn't his cell phone have the day and date on it when he woke up? Ooh.
That's a really good point. But he did
That's
also
a good
have
point.
he had a flip phone as as the other guy.
He saw the time and ran.
Right, true.
But then also, we're dealing with a sleep-deprived, unreliable narrator. So I feel like applying basic common sense to somebody that is manic is probably not the hill to die on narratively, right?
But also to counter that, I would say if you have a long-running thing where you have to chain yourself to the bed, the first thing one does if you lose time is go, how much time did I lose?
What day is it today? You might. Yeah.
I
also felt like the whole thing with the sand and the tape and all that stuff, I'm like, this is, maybe he doesn't know. He just thinks he's ambling about. Because he it's not hard to replace the sand and the tape when he comes back in, you know?
Well, because he clearly does. Like, he doesn't know he's being used.
Right.
Yeah. And Anthony Drago says, as a person who has never read Moon Knight, going in with no pre-knowledge, I dug it. Oscar Isaac kills it.
Nice. Oh, who thinks that there's no mom that he's leaving messages to?
Oh, no, I think it's like a Dropbox. I think he's leaving messages. So I'm assuming Mark Spector is some version of a mercenary and or archaeologist or something just that ties him in.
Yeah.
I think he's leaving messages at like a coded Dropbox unwillingly or unknowingly.
Oh, you think so? I just thought it was just like something that he thinks is real, and it's just like nobody's checking those messages. But it could be. It could be.
I think he's like, he has the number. He thinks it's his mother. Maybe mother doesn't mean the same thing to Steven that it does to Mark, and he's just been leaving these messages. I'm leaving messages to my mom because I'm assuming Mark is primary. The actual person that was born is named Mark Spector. So that means everything else is a fabrication or a divergence, right? It doesn't have its own family, parents. So like mother may be something else that he just, Steven assumes and is leaving messages. I don't think it's a real person.
Oh, no. Speaking of real or not real, I thought it was interesting where he's talking to his supervisor, and he's like, hey, by the way, there are 9 of the Aeneid, the Egyptian gods, but there's only 7 here. I'm wondering, I don't know off the top of my head which gods are or are not in the Aeneid, but I'm wondering if there's only 7 in our world, and he knows about 2 extras that none of the archaeologists know about.
Do you think it's the cool. Amet and Khonshu?
Could be.
Or I don't know enough.
Yeah. Well, so the one, Amet, is that the one that that's
the Judgment
Hawke's character's one? Yeah, that name doesn't sound familiar, and I don't think is any of the people that would judge you in the Egyptian afterlife, but I'm not certain.
It's the, at least in the first couple issues, because that's all I read so far in the Lemire run, the Lemire and beautiful Smallwood run. He's in a mental institution, and his doctor/jailer, her name is Emmet, and he pieces it together. He's like, Emmet, Amet, the god of judgment. It's just so I think they're pulling pieces from that as well as old stuff.
And her titles include Devourer of the Dead, Eater of Hearts, and Great of Death. Great as in
and large. Cooks a mean potato salad. What was your question, JD?
Anthony says, is there a secret entry/exit out of the apartment that Mark knows, but Steven doesn't? It's a good point, since there was that hidden...
possible. Yeah. The hidden...
my question is about Moon Knight.
Yeah.
The character... So what I'm thinking of is Hawkman. And Hawkman has had different iterations throughout its comic book history. And then Jeff Johns came along and sort of wrapped all of those versions of Hawkman into one Hawkman. They're all he is what is it? He's being reborn over and over again. And that's why there's different versions of Hawkman. That's why, and it's all because the writers couldn't get shit straight over the decades, right? So they would change stuff and made everything confusing.
Yeah.
Is that what happened with Moon Knight? The only Moon Knight I've read was the first 2 issues of the Brian Michael Bendis. All the personalities in his head are actually Avengers, like Spider-Man and Wolverine. and then the Jeff Lemire, Greg Smallwood complete collection, which I'm currently reading and I haven't finished. So the question is something that happened to Moon Knight where writers throughout the decades sort of like gave him different personality or different
I think so.
what's the word?
I believe
alter
that it
egos?
is. Yeah.
No, I think from
And so
Jump,
this
he
eventually someone
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Finish your question. Finish your
You know
question.
what what the end of my question was. Good.
Well, I just think from Jump, the multiple versions of Mark has been from Jump, because I'm looking at the original omnibus, and the cover is him in like 17 different costumes. I'll show you. Like, so are you asking, were all these personas real, like from Jump, or were you asking, was it always a version of DID, dissociative identity disorder?
I was wondering if this was a Hawkman situation where different writers gave him different abilities and alter egos over the years. And then someone came along and was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if these were all personalities in the same person's head?
That is my understanding, is that was the case. At least in the very beginning, he was just Mark Spector. And then also at times, it's not the traditional dissociative identity disorder. They are actual other people. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's the case with all DID. But,
yeah,
in the traditional sense, they are like other embodied human beings who were merged into one. And then that was gotten rid of. So Todd, that kind of thing.
Todd said he read the first ever issue of Moon Knight. So Todd could answer us if he's still with us. He could tell us, was he always like this?
So there's Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, John Lockley, a cabbie, a mercenary, a playboy billionaire. They have always been from Jump a part of it.
But were they always? Cool. I thought they were just like identities that he pretended to have. You know what I mean?
Like Batman and Matches Malone.
Yeah. Or like the Shadow. Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know when and how they merged into one.
Yeah.
If that's the case. But in at least the last 30 years, 25 to 30 years, it has been the case.
Yeah.
So, sure. And also too, that might have been a thing where sensibilities weren't very sensitive.
Oh, sensitive.
In back then.
Yeah.
So they would just kind of refer to him as crazy. He's he goes crazy. And the definitions of what that really is have been layered on top of it since. So I think it was always Berserk. Here, it's never been super clear which is primary personality, but yeah, I'd go with Spectre as his main self. That's Todd Ingle saying that. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't think that. So in the instances of Hawkman, that was constant continuity blunders that they merged together for something. Him having multiple personas was always a part of it. Was it always defined as a DID or multiple personality disorder? Probably not, but it was always implied part of it, a thing, him losing himself in this or that, or am I talking to Steven or am I talking to Mark kind of thing? Yeah. But the super, super, supernatural aspects of it have either always been downplayed or amped up. That's never really had a consistency with all of the stuff that I've read. So
sometimes the Khonshu stuff is not there at all, and
sometimes it's questionable whether this is a very unstable man who dresses up in white and thinks he's avatar of Khonshu, and sometimes he literally does have strength and super abilities because he is the avatar of Khonshu. That so the Bendis stuff, he has the same abilities for the most part, at least on paper, as Daredevil. Like, he's just really, really good in a fight, and he has people in his head. He could be mystical, he may not be. But then the current Jason Aaron stuff, he is a straight on avatar of a god, and he punches a moon. So
he took down most, if not all, of the Avengers.
Yeah, he was literally, and he was taking them in onyxes, just taking their. Yeah, it was actually a really fun run.
It was fun. Yeah,
but I am glad that this show instead of trying to bend over backwards to create real world or grounded aspects of these like member berries for a character, they just go straight supernatural. They're like, God, monsters, supernatural, let's roll. Like, I actually really, really dug that.
Todd says, oh yeah, his multiple personality has always been implied, and the supernatural stuff came later. He used to have his 3 personalities, but it wasn't portrayed as a mental disorder. It was a different time back then.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so like the 1-for-1 of Hawkman, maybe publishing-wise works, but not story-wise.
Yeah.
Because
And
Hawkman
then
was just a fucking mess.
Mars was chiming in about the Avengers run. Fist of Khonshu was so much fun. True.
It's
Agreed.
fun.
Oh, guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've looked it up. Amit was, the Eater of Hearts. Lives near the scales of justice in Duat, the Egyptian underworld, where Anubis weighs the heart of a person against generally the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth. So Amit was not responsible for weighing anything. If it was judged, if you didn't pass the judgment, Amit ate your heart. That's what went down.
I think that's what happens when with those people. Like, he doesn't do she doesn't do the judgment. She's just the executor of it.
Yeah.
Right. So I know a lot of it's lip service, but they kept banging on about how they are actively trying to be not only respectful, but as accurate as possible in regards to Egyptian mythology and pantheon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The director and the writers, they're actually like half of them are Egyptian, and they're leaning into it heavy. Like, what was the pitch? Fight Club meets Indiana Jones.
Oh, I didn't hear that, but that's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that either. That's cool.
That's the tone that they're going for. And I was like,
cool.
Okay, I'm in. I'm very excited for this. I think this is cool. This is fun. But I don't think that because this is a 6-hour movie, we could probably hold off on reacting to it till it's over at this point, right? Like, I don't know if checking in every week it's going to be like, I think nothing's going to actually like
it depends on what happens
until the 3rd or 4th week, and then you're just 2 weeks away. I don't know. Like, this is a cool start.
Yeah, good. I like it. I'm excited for more. All right, let's get the hell out of here. I got orders to do. I got to track down an issue of Moon Knight #1 because I want to read it. All right. Anyone who wants to hang out with us, do so Monday nights at 9 p.m. here where you currently are. You can also listen to the podcast version of this on iTunes and Spotify and all those other Jimmy Jams.
What if they want to give us money somehow?
You can give us money by going to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo and help out there. That would be wonderful. If you don't have any money, that's okay. Neither do we. You can just like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. Mars says, great show. Thanks. Thank you, Mars.
Thank you.
And everyone who's down in the chat, thank you so much. You make the show infinitely more fun for me because I get
Congratulations,
to talk to people
Brian.
These jerks.
No.
And Brian, congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, shut up. Yeah. Congratulations, Brian, for being here.
Just way to be.
Latest Gators.
Hal says latest Gators. All right, guys. Thanks so much, and we will talk at you later.